Can't hear you, Sean.
And now you can hear me. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to tonight's conversation. We are doing the science of getting rich, and I have on my lucky shirt. Obi Sean Kenobi. Da, da, da. So, see where we are. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's go to chapter 1. In the chat is a $500 workbook. It's all of the questions out of the Science of Getting Rich. Now, if you already have the program, you have access to that, but it's an 80-page workbook that I crafted and created, but it's from Bob Proctor. So it's yours to have as we go through this workbook. And again, because you have it for no fee, please don't devalue it. It's a $1 million workbook if you use it. It's made me $1 million. It's why I want to give it to you. So, right to be rich. Here we go. Rich. Here we go. Chapter 1, right to be rich. And listen carefully. What is it? Whatever is said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete life or successful life unless one is rich. Let me say that again. Bring this over here. So now you can hear me. Luke, I am your father. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty. So let me ask you this question. What does it mean to praise poverty? Think about it for a second. This is, you can unmute, speak, have a conversation, dialogue. What do you think it means to praise poverty? What are people saying when they praise poverty?
They're elevating it to a level of...
What's an example of praising poverty?
Saying I don't have money.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can afford it. Isn't that praising poverty? Think about it. This gets me so excited when people say, I don't know if I can afford it. Are you not praising poverty? Think about it for a second. I mean, think about it. Here's sentence 1 in the book. We could spend the next 50 minutes on it. This is a Wallace D. Wattles moment. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. He goes on to say, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. So what is a really complete life? Come on, throw it out. This is an ongoing conversation that nobody gets to sit in the corners.
I think Danny put it in the chat. It's gratitude. Gratitude for what you have.
Right. But we're talking about the praise of poverty. No, you shouldn't be praising poverty. Bob Proctor says, if you want to be rich, don't hang around poor people. What is poverty? Let me ask you, in what areas of your life can you be poor?
All areas.
Right. So when people say, oh, I don't feel good, aren't they praising poor health?
Yeah.
Listen, life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can't argue with me. I'm not the one who wrote all the rules. You can get mad as a hornet with me. You can say, you can take this thing and shove it, right? I'm okay with that. I just want you to understand these are not my rules. These are the rules of success that have been long laid out and long put in place. Let's go to the second sentence. Is he going to be yelling at us the whole time? I don't want to do this. No man can rise to his greatest potential or his greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money. For to unfold the soul and to develop talent, he must have many things at use. He cannot have these things unless he has the money to buy them with. I want you to write down one thing, what does he call it? What's one of the things you could use to grow yourself? If you had it, just what's something, write it down. We're not doing a want list. We're not doing anything. What's a tool, a skill, what's something, a thing, if you had it, it could make your life easier. A cold plunge. I mean, that's an example. $1,500, $15,000 cold plunge. Boy, I would really like that. Think about it. Maybe a far infrared sauna, right? A nice far infrared sauna. That's $8 grand, $9 grand. How about a new car? How about a Mont Blanc? I don't know. What's something that you could, if you got it, it would go, you know what? This is the cat's meow. Say it out loud. I want your mind to be expanding.
Pay for my daughter's trip next year in Japan.
Excellent. You could use that. Would that deepen your soul? Would that make your soul richer?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to be rich to get that, don't you? So whatever is said in praise of poverty, the fact remains it's not possible to live a really complete life or successful life unless one is rich. So say it's okay to be rich.
It's okay to be rich.
Yeah, without choking on your tongues, right? Without getting a knot in your stomach. A man develops in mind, soul, and body by making the use of things. Anybody ever go to church? That's a thing. It's a thing. It's a building. Did you ever kneel down on a kneeler? Us Catholics, yes. Right? Anybody ever pray using a rosary? That's a thing. We have rosaries in our family that were blessed by, I don't know, 4, 6 popes ago. A rosary blessed by the Pope. It's kind of sacred, but who knows, right? Somebody tells you, oh, this is blessed by the Pope. That was for your donation. Those Catholics, you got to love them. A man develops in mind, soul, and body. You're going to pay attention to the 3 things, mind, soul, and body, by making use of things. And society is so organized that man must have money in order to become the possessor of things. Therefore, the basis of all advancement for man must be the science of getting rich. Okay, so let's just look here. We're 3 paragraphs in. How many times was the word rich said? 1, 2 times, maybe 3, but I only see 2. So we're 3 paragraphs in. It talks about being rich twice. Here we go. Somebody underline this. The object of all life is development. Period. End of story. The object of all life is development. And everything that lives has an inalienable right, meaning it is absolutely God-given, an inalienable right to all that the development is capable of attaining. Somebody tell me what that means. Give me your version of it. The object of all life is development.
You're
and
able
everything.
that you want.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Able to create anything you want.
Yeah. Well, you have an inalienable right in all the inalienable right to all that development is capable of attaining. What does that mean? That if you need something, it's not that you even have to create it. It's already created for you. It means you should have access to it. There is no reason for you not to have access to it. What denies us access to the Louvre? What denies us access to the Louvre? Time and money, right? Unless you work there. What if you could go sit in front of the Mona Lisa or stare at the statue of David? What would you need? Time and money. You wanted to go to we lived in Florida. We had annual passes to Walt Disney World. Michelle was there on opening day when she was a baby. I think they had lifetime passes. Why don't you go? Time and money. You have to be rich. How many of you would like to donate to charities? Time and money. You have to be rich. Do you think if you donated more to charities, you would be able to feel better? Do you think that would be development of your soul by giving more to charities? Building wells in foreign countries, taking care of homeless in this country, in your country? You have to be rich. You have a right to be rich. Man's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all things, which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfoldment, or, in other words, right to be rich. Now, remember, this is a guy in the church that came out of the church that was kind of about socialism. But he put a blend of socialism and entrepreneurism together, meaning that the socialistic aspect to the right to be rich is that there's other riches out there that you have a right to. Not entitlement, you have a right to. It's your right to be rich. You have to go pay the price, the Napoleon Hill definite major purpose. Right? There is a thinking stuff. You have to hold a thought in the thinking stuff. When you think about how what we understand about Wattles, raised in this socialist mindset, out of the church, left the church, the guy that was his hero had some serious challenges in the church, and it kind of allowed him the freedom to go off into the entrepreneurial world. Now, all of a sudden, he's talking about it's your right to be rich. What are they saying about money at this time? Money is the root of all evil. Well, you know who's saying that? Who's saying money is the root of all evil? The people that ain't got the money. In this book, I shall not speak of riches in a figurative way. This is important to remember. To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied or content with a little. It's not. If I could just get to 10 grand a month, boy, I sure would learn. It would take me about 5 months to figure out how to piss all that away. Then I'd be broke again. But I'd really be happy for those 5 months. It does not mean to be satisfied with content or contented with a little. Do you understand how the value of that is, to be contented with a little? Getting by. How many of us go, yeah, I live comfortably? Really?
Isn't it? It's limiting.
No man or woman, right? Remember, this is written in 1910. So no man or woman ought to be satisfied with little if he is capable of, it doesn't say doing more, if he's capable of using and enjoying more. You need to hear this, because people will read this and saying, if you're capable of earning more, you will put earning in there instead of using and enjoying. This is where we have our own limiting beliefs. Yeah, but I don't want to take anything from anybody. I mean, how many of us have been given some cool things and we've kind of shoved it in the garbage disposal? We've been given great opportunities to be able to leverage time, money, events, this, that, or the other, and we piss them away. We throw them away. We do nothing with them. You know, we're only on page 2, right? This is why nobody wants to join my book club. The purpose of, and this is with a capital N, the purpose of nature is the advancement and unfoldment of life. We've heard unfoldment 2 or 3 times already. We have to unpack this greatness that is us. We have to undevelop, unfold, undevelop the things that have been done to us. The purpose of nature is the advancement and the unfoldment, not the unfolding, the unfoldment of life. And every man should have all that can contribute to the power, elegance, beauty, and richness of life. You ready? Some of you need to duck. Get ready to duck. To be content with less is sinful. That's where you duck. Let me read this again. Can you imagine? This is page 2. How many drafts did he have? I don't know. The purpose of capital N, nature, is the advancement and unfoldment of life. And every man or woman should have all that, listen carefully, every man and woman should have all that can contribute to power. What could contribute to your power? Listen, what if you're a personal trainer? A chef? I know those sound like luxuries, but this is about you being content. See, we think having a personal chef is la-di-da, that's expensive. Compared to what? Have you ever paid for open heart surgery? Have you ever paid for diabetes? Disease is expensive. To contribute to power. How about to elegance? You know who I think would absolutely know exactly what to do with elegance? Louise. The way she shows up every morning with her scarf on and her hair's right and her glasses match her underwear. I don't know, but she's got all of these wonderful, there's a lot that she's put together. She's what you would call a dame, right? She's a dame, right? She's just put together her elegance and just her sophistication and the way she acts. She would do, listen, you say, I want more elegance. You deserve more elegance, Louise. You'd know what to do with it. You gave it to me. I wouldn't know whether to feed it or shoot it. I don't know what to do. I wouldn't know what end to. Then it says, contribute to power, elegance, and beauty. I mean, listen, have any of you ever gotten what do they call it? A blowout? Where you go and you have your hair blown out? Do you like that? Does it kind of make it feel cool? It's cool. Would you go get your hair shampooed when you have somebody else massage your head and you look like a little kid and you right? And then you don't have to dry it, they blow it out. Wouldn't you like to do that once a week? If I said you could do that once a week and it was paid for, what would be the next thing you'd say? Well, I don't have the time. What do you need to be rich? Time and money. And the richness of life. To be content with less is sinful. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I have thought about being poor for most of my life. The man who owns all he wants, listen, for the living of all the life he is capable of is rich. It doesn't say for the squandering, to have more than you need, but it says live to the life. Live to your fullest life. The man who owns all he wants for the living of all the life he is capable of living is rich. No man who has not plenty of money can have all he wants. No, you can't have all you want if you don't have all the money you want. Why do we, you know who probably told us that money is bad? Rich people. So we wouldn't take theirs. I don't know. Life has advanced so far and become so complex that even the most ordinary man or woman requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. If I were to ask you to write down all the areas where you feel that you're lacking, you're incomplete, I wish it wasn't as big a list as it would be. I got to sit this afternoon. It almost makes me tear up. I got to sit in a little folding chair, in a little one of those chairs that pull apart like a chair you take to sporting events. And I got to sit with Gizmo for 2 hours. And he just put his head on my lap and he head butted me and we talked and he burped in my face. And it was the greatest time. He was mad because he wasn't with his girls. Nola was over there. Lily was over there. But when I sat down with him, and he'd wiggle his way in between my legs and just rest his head on my lap. And I would just scratch his head, my hands, because they've been in the dirt and stuff. You know, when you pet an animal and your hands get like that dirty on them. It was the greatest thing ever. I don't know what my rich friends were doing, but I know what I was doing. I was having a memory and taking pictures, and he'd put his nose in my ear. Every person naturally wants to become all they are capable of becoming. This desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things. And you can have free use of those things only as you become rich enough to buy them. We cannot help wanting. That's what everybody says. I want $5,000. I want this. I want my relationship. I want to be 10 pounds lighter. Want. Right? Charlie Brown's teacher. Want. We can't help that. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. Becoming, not wanting, becoming. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things. Alkaline water, ketones, manipole, all of these things. Going to Amber, going to Heather, having them look at your blood, having them take care of you, send the Genius program. All of these things are things. Eating filet mignon, eating organic vegetables, growing your own garden, putting manure in, whatever it is to make the garden grow better. You only have success by using things, and things have a cost. What's the price you'll pay? You can have free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. How many of us love horseback riding? Well, Bob's got a horse. Bob's got a couple of horses. He gets to go do it. Sometimes, how many of us do we know people who lived in New York never went to see the Statue of Liberty? Only went if somebody came and on visit and they go, oh my God, this would be so neat to come here. My first time. I lived in Puerto Rico for 7 years. I only went to El Yuki, the rainforest in the northern hemisphere, the only rainforest in our hemisphere. I went there only when my friends took me. I never went, you know what? I'm going to go to El Yuki, the rainforest. You have free use of things as you become rich enough to buy them. To understand the science of getting rich, therefore, is the most essential of all knowledge. Why do we think the science of getting rich is something we shouldn't study? We've all heard about it. We've all talked. We've been told if you're in the network marketing professional, you've had to hear about Napoleon Hill. Why isn't that a Bible we study? No, because we keep talking about the latest, greatest thing. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be rich. The desire for riches is the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. Isn't that true? When does it convert? You want an abundant life. Say, then I got to be rich. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get rich. The desires for riches is really a desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. And that desire is praiseworthy. The man who does not desire to live more abundantly is abnormal. And so the man who does not desire to have enough money to buy all the things he wants, in the words of young Frankenstein, is abnormal. So do we really want to be rich? Do we really want to be abundant? There are three motives by which we live. This is important. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other. All are alike desirable. And no one of the three, body, mind, and soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut short of a full life and expression. I just want to help people. You're broker than broke and you want to help people? That's all I want to do. I just want to be rich enough to help people. Sorry, you're not. Until you decide to be rich yourself, you can't help people. And that's hard to tell somebody that has a poverty mindset. I just want to volunteer. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny the mind or body. It is not, and it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny the body and soul. We are all acquainted with the loathsome consequences of living for the body and denying both mind and soul. And we see that real life means the complete expression of all that man can give forth through body, mind, and soul. So they're not wrong when they say your health is your wealth. But they're also kind of wrong when they don't say you should be rich to be healthy. It takes some money to be healthy today, unless you're going to be a pauper. But even then, you got to sit where spring doesn't have any contaminants in it. Whatever he can say, no man can be really happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in every function, and unless the same is true with his mind and soul. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility, listen carefully, wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there is an unsatisfied desire. Somebody's liver isn't working right. Their life can be a mess. They got to get on dialysis. The kidneys aren't working. That creates the body's not working. It affects the mind. Right? And then it affects the soul, because those around you who want you healthy, they can't do anything about it. You're not doing anything about it. Everyone has to be rich. This desire is possibility seeking expression. Let me say that again. Desire is possibility seeking expression, or function seeking performance. Man cannot live fully in body without good food, comfortable clothing, and warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive toil. Doesn't say no toil. It says from excessive. Rest and recreation are necessary to his physical life. He cannot live fully in mind without books and time to study them. How many of you have a book you wish you had some more time to read? Oh, there you go. He cannot live fully in his mind without books and time to study them, without opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellectual companionship. To live fully in mind, he must have intellectual recreations and must surround himself with the objects of art and beauty he is capable of using and appreciating. To live fully in soul, man must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. Ooh. 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 What? Don't repeat that one, Sean. What?
That
You want me
was
to say it again?
don't repeat it.
To live fully in soul, man must have love. And love is denied expression by poverty. How many of us here have heard the financials things? Most divorces would be avoided if they had $400 more a month, $400 more a month. That was 20 years ago. Maybe the numbers grew, but I doubt it. But aren't most arguments over money? Love is denied expression by poverty. A man's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those he loves. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in, wait for it, giving. Is sending somebody a text that says, I love you or thank you, is that an expression of giving? How many of you sent out 20, 30 texts of giving today? Okay, good. 15's good. 30's better. You need to overpower it. It doesn't take, if you don't have time to send thank yous, you don't have time to receive thank yous. Just saying. The man who has nothing to give cannot fill his place as a husband or a father or as a citizen or as a man. Boy, we're still in chapter 1. Wallace was swinging the hammer. You know, we talk about who's this book for and who's this book not for, right? Who's this webinar for? And it's called magnetize to polarize to magnetize. You want to get people going. There's people who this book is really not for. If you're listening to it and you're like, I'm not leaving now. Are you kidding? I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'm staying. This is for me. And you wind up buying in to the chaos. Wattles was doing that right off the bat here. It is in the use of material things that a man or woman finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to him that he should be rich. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich. If you are a normal man or woman, you cannot help doing so. It is perfectly right that you should give your best attention to the science of getting rich, for it is the noblest and most necessary of all studies. You know, who do you think should be reading this? Well, at what age do you think you should start people reading this? Read it to them when they're 2. Absolutely. Look at the balloons. If you neglect this study, ready, here you go. Wattles makes me look like a unicycle riding clown the way he hits. If you neglect this study, you are derelict in your duty to yourself, to God, and to humanity. For you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. There's a little fire and brimstone. Here's chapter 1. Let's go to the questions. Where is it? Science of Getting Rich. Science of Getting Rich. There it is. You're about to embark on the journey unlike any that has ever been taken before, not because of some of the words I add here, because you apply these principles, if you apply these principles, your life will never be the same. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm in the personal and development space for 40 years. I believe that this is the true desire for everyone, of the greatest books on the planet, not just the Science of Getting Rich. Every book you read, right? You can read all that. Couple of lines that the author uses to trigger the amygdala. It is intended for those men and women whose most pressing need is for money. Any of you have a pressing need for money? Any of you have a pressing desire for money? Then you have to study this. You do nothing else, nothing. I promise you, if you do this and study this, I picked this up and started studying it. We've been doing the gratitude. I was riding the lawnmower. For those of you that have been to the ranch, just as soon as you come in the driveway on the left, cutting the grass there, I get a phone call. I answer it. 10 minutes later, there's $1,400 in my Apple account because I answered a question. Just poof. Wasn't even looking for it. I had to turn the mower off. I didn't even have to get off the lawnmower. I'm saying this because I have a right to be rich. You have a right to be rich. Money flows easily and effortlessly. Okay, so questions number one. Let's go to here we are, chapter 1. So answer these. I'm going to ask you to. We're going to take some time. Whatever can be said in what? What does it say? That's the first sentence. Whatever can be said.
In praise of poverty.
So yeah, so in praise, that's the empty blank, of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to
live
a really complete or successful life unless one is
rich.
rich. So here's where the questions come in. What are your initial thoughts? And I want you to write this down. Don't hem and haw and go, I'll do it later, or this, that, or the other. There's no better time than now. And if you're in the pressing need of money, I'm going to encourage you to do this. What are your initial thoughts about these words? It's in the PDF that I download. That's in the chat right above where you just typed that. There's a PDF in there.
Maybe they joined later after you shared
Okay.
it.
Let me share again.
Thank you. I think I got on after.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whoa. Oh. Almost did again. Enter.
Well,
There you go.
what he's saying, I think, is you have the right to be rich. We all do.
But what's he also saying about poverty? What's he saying about the concept of poverty? In the praise of poverty. Everybody talked about, anybody who's poor tells you why it's so good to be poor.
My first initial thoughts was that sitting in lack creates more things too.
And if you're sitting in lack, law of attraction says what?
You're gonna get more things to be in lack of.
So if your mind is wired in lack and you're sitting in lack and lack is all around, aren't you going to praise the thing that you have?
So if you focus on it, so if you
90% of 80% of everybody's daily conversation is spent in talking about finances. How much money? How much does that cost? What does that cost? What's the price of this? The cost of that? I don't have enough time. I need a raise. Can't afford that. How do you feel? Here's a tough one. How do you feel about this? Next question. Let's keep going. Keep the pens a-going. How do you feel about this? Based upon your thoughts, how do you feel about this? This is where the book comes to life, is when you start doing this stuff. Because everybody's read the book. Everybody's read Science of Getting Rich or Napoleon's Hill or everybody else. How do you feel about whatever can be said about the praise of poverty? The fact remains that it's not possible to live a really complete and successful life unless one is rich. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about understanding it?
It makes you different.
Different than what?
Different than most of the people you're around.
And the wealth
well,
you'd want to go ahead. Yeah.
Let me say most of the people I'm around.
Right. And the wealth you want to create, wouldn't that make you different too?
Absolutely.
So would it maybe start, is it okay to start with feeling differently and that might bring different?
Absolutely.
And this is where discipline comes in. This is where the definite major purpose comes in. This is where self-talk comes in. The reason I want you to take time to set yourself up for an understanding of this new is to activate new pathways in your brain and to begin to understand how to think differently. $100,000 in debt. If I just say that, what's the first thing your mind goes to? But what if it's $100,000 on a $500,000 purchase and the bank finances the rest, and you have now $500,000 of capital to go do something with, to leverage, the tax write-off? All of these things, it's about changing the way we look. Money, the dollar is not going to change its value. It's how you change the value of the dollar. Right? We say the dollar's up against the yen, the dollar's up against the drachma, the dollar's up against or down against the Canadian. We always compare currencies. Don't compare your dollars to anything else, because maybe you're going to live internationally and you'll use the euro. Bob, I just put it in right there again. Let me drop it one more time. So there it is again there. It should be in the chat. How might you begin to see the science of getting rich unfold right before your eyes? I can tell where all your hands are. This is hurting your brain. Like prefrontal cortex.
I think that we have to be aware when we are praising the lack and then shifting it. So I think this first chapter is kind of like smacking us in the head, like quit praising the bad stuff and let's shift onto the good stuff.
Well, and so let's be very clear. God said there's nothing good nor bad. Thinking makes it so.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where what I'm blessed, what I'm grateful for, that we're not reading Science of Getting Rich. We're using the words in the book Science of Getting Rich to expand on Think and Grow Rich and self-talk and personal development and definite major purpose and your chakra clearing and psyche and wellness and alkaline water. All of this is the science of getting rich. Doesn't Bob look like a senator? Doesn't he look like he's just about to be interviewed like a senator going, "Good evening, Newsline. Bob Kane here." Got all spiffied up. He's using this product. He's getting younger by the minute. So what are your thoughts about this opening statement? I love what Ruth said. We have to become aware that we're praising the lack. We do it quite a bit. We do it more than we really, you know how much we'd be talking if we didn't realize how much we were praising lack? We'd go, how are you? Not good. Praising the lack. Praise the lack. Amen. Hallelujah. How you doing? I'm okay. Praising the lack. You have an abundance. You've never been here before. How could you be okay with today? How could you be okay? Tell me, how could you be okay? It's impossible. You can't be okay with today. You have to be, oh my God, the sun didn't blow up. Mars is right where it is, and you know where I'm going. 8th grade humor. I saw Uranus right out there. It's where it's supposed to be. Here's the next question, chapter 1. So what is something you feel would need to change for you to live a rich life? Go ahead, Amber. I just saw your hand pop up.
Yeah, I was trying to put my hand back down because you went on to the next question.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, this first sentence at first makes me not feel very great.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm hopefully about halfway through life and I haven't been rich yet. So everything, this was just where I was going in my head. Everything I've done up to this point is not really complete or successful. And then I went, wait a minute. We just talked about we can be rich in other areas of our life. I understand money, like I get that. But before I self-sabotaged my whole self-worth, I am rich, very rich in one area, and that's as a mom. So being able to have goals and see what needs to shift and change while also looking at what areas am I rich in now. That helps me feel better and not want to just hit the leave button.
So let's continue. So what's something that you would feel would need to be changed to transform for you to live a richer life, for you to live a rich life?
Money and health.
So what
Sorry.
would need to change to make that happen, to live a rich life? To say money is great, but what? More business,
Well,
more
that's
network
why I'm
marketing?
waiting for the next chapter to learn the science.
Right, but what
Yes.
would you do, right? What would
Right.
you do with the time? This is where we have to tell the universe, what would we do with this? Because the universe is like, I have everything you want right here. Just tell me how you want me to give it to you so you can use it effortlessly. Because it's given it to us, but we just haven't been able to use it. You had 24 hours today. I had 24 hours today. You had the right to use it however you want. We didn't give our intention to the universe going, I want this before I put my head on the pillow tonight. And then the reticular activating system happens and richness happens because there's a science. It's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. Who else? What would you do? What was something you feel would need to change for you to live a rich life?
My mindset,
Awesome.
which I control, right? So,
100%.
and I have a choice to sit on the dang, I don't have any money, or, oh my gosh, I just found a dime on the floor.
And then Friday I was having a conversation and I was given an $8,000 gift. I was asked to be in the next book. What's the title of it? I can't think of the first part, but it's from thought leaders. Expressions of life from thought leaders. And it's going to be 20 celebrity authors and a bunch of the inner circle. You had to be part of the inner circle. You had to be in one of the previous books. And I was talking to Kyle on Friday. He said, hey, listen, he said, I asked God what I should do. Is there anything I could do for Sean before the call started? And I said, he said, it just got this download and it feels really good. He said, I'd like to invite you to be an author in the book. I'd like to grant you a space.
That's awesome. Congrats.
I'm like, dude, I love you. I said, I'm grateful for it. I received that. And we'll have some fun. He says, cool. He says, we just started it. January 22nd is we've already did the first call. He said, I'll send you the links for the calls. And he says, and I'm excited you're in it. So.
Well, that ties in with what I was just going to say. You said receive, and my thought was accept. Accept the blessings, accept the abundance that's available to us. I know for myself, too often I have not been in that accepting, receiving.
So when you go
way of
out and you
thinking.
look at all your bales of hay, those are gifts, right? And it's funny to think. We get one bale. We get one. It's a 100-pound bale with 3 strings on it. We get one bale of alfalfa, $32 a bale. Yeah. And it goes into our little bucket and it's covered up and I give them a slab, and I take the chaff, the alfalfa chaff, and I put it in their feed bucket. It's like putting whipped cream on top of their food. And I'm just so grateful for one bale. I love the bale. I love the blue string, the baling twine. I'm braiding it while I'm standing there and feeding it, and I'm wrapping it up, and I'm going, I can't wait till I need to tie something up, because now I got baling twine, right? I have a bag, one of the plastic bags from the feed, and I'm stuffing all the baling twine in there, and I am so grateful for the plastic bag and the blue, and sometimes they'll have blue and yellow baling twine, and it's the greatest thing ever.
I
Michelle
don't
says,
know what people do without baling
I
twine.
know. Are you
Just think
kidding? Now I just got to go find a chewing gum factory and I'll be set. So, spirit awaits awakening from the soul. I think that's what it says. I don't know. I don't have the teacher's cheat code in it. So I'll have to figure out what that meant. I'm pretty sure it's spirit awaits awakening from the soul. It could be something else though. It'll show up. What would this look like when you think of this phrase? What is it that you believe would be the new direction? Oh, spirit awaits direction. That's it. Spirit awaits. See, the secret's right in there. Spirit awaits direction from the soul. What do you believe would be a new direction, a new way to look at things? What would be the new direction around your finances? If you sit in lack, it's lack. That's a huge one. I must have had 10 conversations in the last 72 hours about people talking about their finances. And I say, so tell me where you're at. They said, I'm behind. If you knew what every word, life and death is in the power of the tongue. If you said, I don't have any money, I can't afford this, I'm behind that, I'm this, that, and the other. I have an opportunity to think of new ways to create income, but nobody's taught this. Nobody's taught the way to leverage God's word. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Then speak power into it. What would you feel if, say you had, I don't know, I think one of my credit cards has got $20,000 on it. A couple of them do. But I leverage credit card debt. I leverage it in my business. I'm grateful to have a card that's $20,000 on it. Why? Because somebody thought enough of me to give me 20 grand. I love how it's being paid off instantly. I get $8,000 gift. You know what I get to do with that book? Do you know what I get to be as part of that book with Dennis Waitley and whoever else and Les Brown and all of the the celebrities that are going to be in it? I get to leverage that book. I get to go build a list. I'm already excited. I know what it's going to be. Thoughtful leaders from I can't even remember the title. But I get to go leverage that. I'm building a list already for it. It happened on Friday. I'm building a list now. Do you want to be in it? Do you want to have part of my access to the 4 archetypes training? You have this. Buy the book, because now I'll be a 6-time best-selling author. You know how many books I paid to be in? 1. And it was $75. I've been in 4 best-selling books that I've not paid for. Now I'll be in a 5th one. All by invite. That's over $25,000 in books. So what would change for the spirit awaits direction from the soul? What's the change in your finances? Somebody shout it out. It's about money. Think and Grow Rich. How are you going to change?
Abundance.
Go ahead. Abundance. So what does that feel like? The hard part that I have when I work with some people when they say about abundance is they think they got to go become a spendthrift. They got to go just spend like a drunken sailor. That's not what it means. What does it mean to have an abundant financial mindset? For you, Danielle?
For me, I think it's wanting to just a first example that pops in my head is visiting my parents.
And when would you like to do that?
This summer.
Okay. Which month?
Preferably in June.
So in June. So February, March, April, May, June. 4 months. So let's just say you're going to leave the middle of the month. So that's now, 4 months from now. Was that $5,000?
No, it would cost me close to 15 grand to go.
Okay, so 15,000.
Hmm.
So now imagine, so don't start with that. Now imagine what's the airport code of the
SJJ.
so SJJ, and now you're going to pick up the bags. Sit in that state. Here's the thing that here's you can I all share with you a secret you probably have never heard me share before? I hope you understand this, because this is a secret that I have, that it's really not a secret, but it's right out there. Best place to hide the most powerful secret is right in front of everybody. I always talk about you have to come up with a $15,000 story. What's the $15,000 story when you pick up your bags? What's the $15,000 story when you walk out the airport and see your mom or your dad, whoever's picking you up? What's the $15,000 story as you're riding from the airport to your home that you're telling Teo and you're telling Cello and you're telling Kevin? What's the $15,000 memory? What's the $15,000 memory when you get out of the car and walk from the car to the house? This is the 1,000-word story.
Right.
See, if it's not worth $15,000 for the memory, the universe is going, I can't invest in that. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't the universe want an ROI? A return on imagination? This is good. Somebody needs to write this down. I just made this up. The universe wants an ROI. We want an ROI. We want a return on investment. The universe, God wants a return on imagination. So what's the mindset of this spirit awaits direction from the soul? What's the mindset that needs a transformation, needs an adjustment? Example, mindset is sitting in gratitude. Mindset is speaking of a higher state of income, right? I was at an event and 50 Cent was on the panel talking to the company owner. And he said, we need to put down a 1. And the owner knew what he meant. The company owner knew what he meant. He knew what he meant, but he said, you need to tell what you mean by when you say 1 or 2. 100,000. 100,000. 200,000. He said, we just don't want to have to say the 100,000. It takes too long. We need to put 1 or 2 down. Can you imagine speaking about $100,000 in 1s and 2s? Doesn't that change your mindset? So what would change in your mindset? Christina, what would change in your mindset? I'm not paying attention. I'm doing something else. I was working on something else. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Really, Sean, I'm just, yeah, you're right. I'm just smiling because after our conversation Friday, I'm bolder. You know, right now, a friend of mine says, I want to buy the machine, but it's so expensive. Why does it need to be so expensive? And for me, I would have said, the old story would have said, yeah, you're right, it is expensive. For me, it's just like, what is your wealth? What is your health worth? And then I sent him a picture with your background rewired to restart. And in the back, I have a picture of Sean, who passed away at 47. I said, he passed away and I could have asked him and I didn't. So this is a reminder you have the chance to invest in your health. So, you know, you asked the question before, about what can you do when you are in a poverty mindset.
Right.
And for me, it was like not even me asking for help, but being in your circle long enough that you could tell that it is time for you to sit down and talk to me, because I would never come and knock at your door, even though you said paid in full. But asking for help would be ideal. And if not, have friends around you, like the inner circle that we have here, who recognize it. You know, today you were saying about when you're asking someone and they tell you, and you tell them that they're fine. 5 minutes before the call, Daniela asked me, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm good." It's just, yeah, mind blowing. So.
We when as you grasp this more, here's the thing: you're going to go through the 4 stages that Kyle Cease talks about: fear, sadness, excitement, new normal. The fear is, I can't change. I don't know if I don't have the ability to change. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough, and blah, blah, blah. And that's all fear. Once you realize how simple it was to change, and I'm going to put up my second finger because then that would look very bad. The reason that you then become sad with number 2 is because you realize you could have done it so easily and effortlessly. And like, oh my God, I could have done this years ago. And now we still have to get through that sadness. Go ahead.
How long does sadness last?
Until. It literally lasts until. And the reason that most people's sadness can last a lifetime is because they haven't set their target on what it is they want. Somebody somewhere, a book, a tape, a training, an emotional state, a gun to your head, something forced you to give up the old story and face the fear. False evidence appearing real. And we stepped into it and we faced the fear and we said, hell with the damn the torpedoes. And then you got here on the other side. You went into the door. You took the first step into the hero's journey. You answered the call and stopped refusing the call. The first time you answer the call, you're like, oh my gosh, that wasn't hard at all. And that's when the hard part starts. That's when the hero's journey starts. The belly of the whale, the night at sea, the hidden treasure, the final battle, returning with the elixir. And it's all to return with the elixir. How long does that last? I don't know. Ask Luke Skywalker. Took him how many years? The journey begins when you finally move forward, and that's the mindset shift. The spirit awaits direction from the soul, and the direction is into the hero's journey. And once you're in the battle, listen, there's no sadness when you're in battle. When you're in the fight, there's no sadness. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm winning. No, you're kicking butt and taking names. There's no sadness. There's no crying in battle. But we never step into the battle. We sit on the couch, eat bonbons, and go, I did my blessings. Why isn't everything happening? It's not directed at you because you have a couch and you do that. We set ourselves up for failure. Listen, I'm reading a book. I can't remember the name of it. It's but we are wired for failure. We do everything in our life to fail. I know that hurts. We do everything in our life to fail, to fall short, to age, I never did. I'm too old. We do everything in our life to fail. We are not wired to win because that's odd. That's weird. That's crazy. That's easy. We live to fail. Another day, another dollar. Oh, I lost that. Oh my God, I know exactly how you feel. We talk about failure more than we talk about successes. We are wired for failure. I'm not good enough. Wired for failure. I'm not smart enough. Wired for failure. I have too much debt. Wired for failure. I love that. Oh, that makes me want to throw up. I love that. Ugh. Say
Wait,
I
so-
love it like you mean. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just thought, well, that really sucks. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna claim that's okay?
Good.
I-
Yeah, you admitted to it. And now what happens is now you can finally make a choice.
Mhm.
But if we're wired for failure, going for success, we're wired for failure. We're going to fail. I lost my team. I'm just looking who's on here. If the kids watch this, isn't it funny to call the 20 and 25-year-olds kids, right? If the kiddies watch this, their businesses go and they fail. They go and they fail. I was talking to somebody last night, I don't know, Saturday night. They put me on a conference call and I was talking to them and they said, I'm going to Budapest in 2 weeks. I go, for what? He goes, well, we have an event going on. I go, you're an idiot. I go, I don't even know who you are. He goes, but I've been following you. I said, well, then you should know better. You're going to go to Budapest. You're taking 10 people with you. They're all going to quit in 30 days because they pissed away $1,500 they don't have, and they're not going to be able to pay next month's auto ship. And your business is going to go south, and you think, I went to Budapest. Why is everybody quitting? Because you're an idiot. I didn't know I was on speakerphone with all of the people. I said, why are you all going? I said, you're going for your up. Well, our mentor said, not a mentor. Your mentor doesn't make you poverty. That's not how you get rich. Anyways. So yes, I'm glad you claimed it. You now have a choice. You now have awareness. If I keep putting on my shoe and it hurts my little toe, how many of you women have those shoes that you wear? They make they look good with my dress, but God, I got to take them off. You're walking barefoot in the driveway and coming home, tearing your nylons, right? World War II, tearing your nylons. You have a right to be rich. What's going to be your mindset shift?
Well, here's what's coming to my head.
Go ahead.
Back in the 70s, I was on a flight interviewing for a college coaching position in Louisiana. And there was a guy sitting next to me on the plane, and I'm talking to him. And he was a teacher also, but he was also a consultant for some businesses. And, talking, he said, I just teach them how to put some zeros behind what they're doing. Because we can all do some things, right? And we've all had some successes. What would happen if we just put some zeros behind the successes that we've had? And isn't all of us able to do that? So that's what I've been telling myself lately. Put some zeros behind what you're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only ones and zeros and commas. My mentor would say, see if you can have a 2 comma thought. Can you think 2 comma? Not 1 comma, 2 comma. Because 1 comma gets you to 999,000. That's a big thought, but 2 comma gets you to 1 million. Start thinking 2 comma ideas.
That's a great way of looking at it.
So the next question, show that the right to life includes the right to be rich. And we'll go to our resident housekeeper. Daniela, how are you? Show that the right to life includes the right to be rich. What does that mean? Your right to life includes your right to be rich. What did it say in the book? To live a complete and full life, you must be rich. If you can have the use of any of nature's stuff, and it requires money to buy them, then the first thing you should study is the right to be rich. Why does the right to life include the right to be rich?
Well, how else are you going to fulfill what you want?
Right. So why is it a right? I
No-
like what you
none
said,
of us-
but
None
take
of
it
us
to,
were born into poverty. I mean, none of
Okay.
us were born with a poverty mindset we were taught.
right. We were taught that. We were gifted that.
Right.
So what does it mean to live a
choice.
rich life? This is new neural pathways being created. I get it. To live a rich life means to be able to have access to those things that would allow you to live richer. So going to see your mom and dad, does that give you a richer life?
Absolutely.
So you have a right to be rich. If you can think it, God said, if you can think it, right? Napoleon Hill said, if you see it, believe it, you can achieve it.
Which I'm a firm believer in that because I've done it.
So then why not do it all the time? I'm a when it fits firm believer. I'm not an always fits firm believer.
Yeah.
Right? When your back was against the wall and you said, screw it. You didn't have to become mean. You just said, screw it. And you went and did it.
Right.
Mostly because everybody said you couldn't.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you want me to tell you you can't do now? So what do we mean to have your right to life? Doesn't Teo's right to life include his right to be rich?
Yeah. Teo has that mindset.
Give him the
Teo
book.
thinks like he's funny, which I don't not tell him to follow his dreams.
Right.
Um,
What if you sat down and asked him to teach you how to dream like that again? Ask him the feeling. Tell Teo, I need you to go big. I want you to create. Tell me what's going in your mind. Where do you feel it do you feel it in your pinky toe? Where do you feel the show me? And have him cement this in. Have him lock that in. Drink water if you have it. Your brain's going crazy.
I don't have any water in front of me.
You should get some.
I'm looking for it.
Who else wants to tell me your understanding of? So show that the right to life includes the right to be rich. What do you say? Anyone else? What do you say? What is
Well,
the
here's
right
what came to
go
my
ahead.
mind.
Go ahead.
I just reread this. Now, this refers to wisdom, but I think it correlates to everything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed like the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. So to me, it is belief.
I think the one word that jumped out to me there was double-minded. We have to be single-minded. Could you
Okay.
imagine? Could you imagine if Jesus went for the miracle and went, man, I hope this works. And I hope God's listening. Hey, Father, you up there? Hello. Could you imagine just if there was just a shred, a molecule of doubt, a mustard seed of doubt. God, I hope this works. Literally, he's the only one that can say that. God, I hope this works. But what did he say before every miracle?
Thank you.
So what did you say before you wake up every morning? Roll your eyes at me, Jukik. We have to say it when we go to sleep, we wake up. There's things that fall on my desk here that I catch and I go, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. That could have been a thank you. Oh wow. When it goes crazy, I'm gonna say thank you in a second, but right now it's not on top of my mind when it spills all over my notebooks. Like, well, thank you. I guess I need to believe that. Anyone else want to talk about your right to be rich?
What comes to my mind is that I'm worthy of it, and I deserve it. So that's
So how is that different now than yesterday?
I think because I have a better awareness of it today than I did yesterday.
Okay. And what's better than awareness?
Action.
I'm just asking because you can have a deeper awareness. It still doesn't mean you're going to do anything.
Right. So I feel like I will change my words and my thoughts
Okay.
to just be more in alignment of being abundant.
So
versus-
I would say, Ruth, that a lot of people love one of the things about you is your stability and predictability. How committed you are. When you say you're going to do something, they don't even have to think about it. With this shift, with this mindset shift, your energy is going to be different. People won't know what to say. So I'm going to encourage you to come up with a story of this new journey. Because it's a little thing. It is a little thing.
It's a little thing.
You're taking the sail and adjusting it 1 degree, and nobody notices until they don't see land anymore, and you're taking them out to sea. And they're going to be like, what happened? And it may not be tomorrow. It may not be the end of the month. It may not be next month. But with this shift, this slight little awareness to action, there's going to be big changes.
So
And go ahead.
I was afraid that, okay, I have this awareness. How do I keep that at the forefront? So I always stay focused on it. So I don't get pulled to the side.
So now that it's totally in focus now. It's even more focused so that there is no side. There's no side you could be drawn to. Let that sink in for a second. Right? Because if I have a focus and I could get drawn to the side, I don't want to get drawn to the side. It means there's space there. There is no space for it. Your focus has become so big and so wide, there is no distraction.
Wow.
And that is the change the way you do things. That's going to put an energy around you that even when you get off the call, you may notice hubby saying something. You just be aware that it is going to be so energetically noticeable. And you're going to be like, I didn't do anything. Why does everybody keep asking me, did I change my hair color? It's been this color since I was right? They're going to say something. And you just have to giggle and go, oh, it's showing, isn't it? How cool is that?
That's so funny. So my husband is the last to ever notice things, but when he does notice, I'll be like, wow, I guess it is making an impact.
So here's the next question. We got 3 more questions. I know we're going late. If you need to jump off, jump off. Is it right to be content with honest poverty? My signal's gotten out. Think about that. Is it right? So answer me. Go ahead, Daniela. Hi, Daniela. Let's go to our caller in Ohio. Night, Christina.
The answer is no.
So answer this. What does that mean?
Okay, so this I started laughing because I get this a lot, especially in my household and outside my household, is let's get back to reality. That is the first phrase that shows up for me as soon as you ask this.
Honest
And-
poverty.
Yep. It just, it really gave me a shift in perspective of, I know that I can't control others and my responses are my responsibility, but not even but more so of, I can still stand in my true self even though I'm being called back to their reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to me it does. Amber, does that make sense? I know you just turned your camera off because you probably had to go run and do something. But the idea of is it right to be content with honest poverty? The answer is absolutely no. And what does honest poverty mean? Honest poverty is we do okay. That's honest poverty. We get by. We don't struggle. We're not struggling. There's many people that I know that are struggling. I don't give a rat's patootie about anybody else's struggling. Your sense of honest poverty is where you have justified that you can't afford, you're going month to month. You got more month than bill. That's honest poverty. Right? We need to give to the church. The church can take care of itself. Take care of you. I'm all about tithing and I'm all about giving and I'll make it up and I'll add up to it. But if I can't feed my kids, the church ain't getting their money this month.
Mhm.
And I think God be okay with that. But honest poverty is, well, we got to give that. And we need to have tomato soup and ketchup for dinner. How rich do you want to be? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about what your bank account you want it to look like? I mean, not dreaming, really, reality. $1 million is okay to have in the bank account. Retirement. College funds for your kids, $200,000 each college fund. What's wrong with that? Question number 3. Explain what a complete life is and show how riches are essential to a complete living. Yeah, there's a lot of work in this and you can do some of this work after, but right now, what would explain what a complete life is? What is a complete life?
Let each become all he is capable of being.
And what would that mean for you? Does that mean all of the mortgage payments are paid off, which they might already be, right? You could afford to build on another barn and let people put their horses there that can't afford it, but they need a good place to live. I don't know. How about going on a cruise? Are you a cruise guy? You ever gone on a cruise? Want to take your bride on a cruise? Would she want to go on a cruise and you can just sit and mope the whole time?
I couldn't drag her on a boat.
Okay, good. Right? Do you want to go paragliding? I saw a meme the other day. The guy went paragliding and he ran down the hill. You know how you run down the hill and the chute goes up? He never buckled up. The chute took off without him.
Yeah, I used to have a short horse. Steel's pretty tall. I didn't select him for a reason. I like the shorter horses.
You need to get a Shetland horse your feet could drag. You just have him walk underneath you. Okay, here we go. Like sitting in a wheelbarrow.
You should see when I have to get up on him. It is comical.
Wow. How high is the stirrup when you're standing next to him? Is it at your belt buckle?
I've got it. I got to grab my knee and yank it
No.
up to get
Wow,
my foot
that's
in
a
the
tall
stirrup.
horse. How many hands is he?
He's 16 something or other.
Jeez, that's big.
I don't think I want to know.
Wow.
He's a big boy.
So why are riches essential for a complete living? You know, I heard somebody say if I had 3 wishes, or if I had 1 wish from the genie, I'd wish for enough. Every time I put my hand in my pocket, I'd have enough money to pay for anything I wanted. Just enough. I wanted to go take 20 kids on private jets to this. I got enough. It kind of takes the pressure off to have enough. Next question. In which department which department of life, mind, body, or soul, body, mind, or soul, do you feel the greatest lack? Freeze frame. In which department of life, body, mind, or soul, do you feel the greatest lack? Do you see why this is what makes this book? It's these questions. It's this 80-page book that you now have in front of you. Body, mind, or soul, where do you feel the greatest lack?
So Sean, when I saw this in the
Yep.
book,
Yep.
I didn't weigh them all the same.
Right.
And so I realized that, boy, they really do. You can't cut off one and thrive in the other. They all have to be thriving. Thrive in the other. They all have to be thriving. And so that was because I don't know. I just thought, oh yes, I can try eat healthy and sleep well and drink my water, but then I got to feed my soul, right? And I also have to make sure I don't have that stinking thinking stuff. So it's all of it.
And this is what Emerson said. The most difficult thing you'll ever do is the idea of sustained thought. Imagine you with every thought and every step and so I got to put gratitude in every step, and I got to do gratitude for my mind, gratitude for my body, gratitude for my soul. And I got to sit in that. And then there's not a whole lot of time to do stuff. So when you do stuff, it's got to make an impact. It's got to be like the elephant when it hits the ground. It has to shake the earth. We can't keep doing this shallow stuff. Yes, Daniela?
Is there an all of the above?
There is,
Answer.
but which one more? Which one most? They're not always equal.
I'm weighing out body and soul.
And so if body or soul, which one of that? A or B?
I'm leaning more towards soul.
Right. And most of us would be. Most everybody here is pretty darn healthy. Yeah, we could do some more things. We could do a little bit better. We could do this. We could maybe spend some more time in meditation. I get it. But the biggest lack I find for those that are on their journey towards success is that they want to be able to have this completeness and the ability to receive and give in the same moment. I want to give more, but I can't give more till I receive more. But I feel I just there's this hole of receiving. I got to do more. You don't have to do more. You've already paid in full a whole bunch of stuff. It's time to receive. And that's called karma. That's called karma. What you've put out. And so karma keeps running by. Karma is the merry-go-round going, yeah, there's a time, I'm coming around again. And you never receive the karma that you put out there. You never, it goes by and it goes, I'm here, knock, 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 knock. And you go open the door and it's not there because you waited too long. It's okay to receive. You've put out enough good karma to receive. So in question 5, after reading this chapter and seriously thinking about its content, write down in your own words how you have always felt about money and how you now feel about money. This is how I was raised about money. And what are your thoughts that you want to be a part of your new paradigm with respect to money?
I grew up on trees. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Diane. I was just going to say, I grew up with money doesn't grow on trees. And
how'd you like to have been one of Rockefeller's kids? Who do you think I am, Rockefeller? Well, as a matter of fact, I think you are. Right? We had all of these things, and these were our parents' way of justifying honest poverty. And we were able to lull ourselves into honest poverty because we say those.
So one of the things when my kids were little, when they wanted something, and I
Mhm.
always say to them, that's fine, we have the money for that, but is this how you want to choose to use it? So I never said we don't have the money for it. And I really believe both my children live their life from abundance because of how because of the way I grew up, I didn't want to say that. So you either do the same as your parents or you do the complete opposite because you don't like what you had. So, and I think it made a huge difference in them. And sometimes it makes me uncomfortable. But my son's like, Mom, it's all good. I'm not worried. The next job will come. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, I think that.
So you just, I just got a download when you said that. Don't worry. I had said earlier, I had heard it, but it wasn't clear, and it came to me much clearer this time. It said, the way my mind says to me, going, "You're an idiot. I told you this before. She just told you it now." I'm like, "Oh, that's what you meant." Pay attention to how your children shift with your shift. You're going to hear them say things differently. Things are going to come to them more effortlessly. There's going to be things that happen in their life because of this slight little shift that you're making. It frees up another dimension in their life.
That's so
That's what
true.
I was just told.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
absolutely.
think of the cartoon. I can't think of the cartoon. It's where one of the big bully guys just grabs the little guy and drags him down the hall. That's what this thing was telling me, going, let me take you back and you can tell the story again. Where were you taking me? Anyways. So are you coming up with new thoughts? What are your new thoughts about money, Daniela? Well, why do you keep picking on me? One call, I decided to come back, and you're riding me like a horse. Idiot.
That money isn't as difficult to get access to as we think it is.
Did you get any tips yesterday?
Yes.
Did you get ones any bigger than you thought you should have got? Or more
Yeah.
than you thought they would pay? More than they thought? How easy was that?
Yeah, mostly everybody tipped what their bill was yesterday. Which
Good
was
Lord. Yeah.
because I walked in an intention before I even got there. I had a very, very clear intention. And even though it was fascinating night, by the way. Just the most interesting people came across my path yesterday. But I have a very which you're gonna laugh, but whatever. I really realized that, yeah, especially last night, how I know people joke around that I have an RBF,
Mm-hmm.
but
Resting beauty face?
yes. And I was actually very grateful for it yesterday. And the power that I stood in yesterday, and I don't know how to say it. It was like authority in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't find it to be a bad thing.
Well, the results kind of show that it wasn't.
Yeah. I really there was a couple instances where I was nice. No, I wasn't. I'm lying. I wasn't nice. I was very firm. I was very firm in my words, my stance, like, you're gonna hear what I have to say, and you have a choice to either walk out or sit down and shut up. And I said it in the most polite way I could in that scene. So I saw myself in a different light that I can use in my business, and not in a bad way.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So it gave me a different outlook on leadership, on myself, leading myself first of all. But it's very
Is that what you would call unapologetically being yourself and accepting yourself for what you are?
absolutely. Absolutely. People that like point out things that they feel is negative about me, I actually took it and used it to my advantage. So
I love
it was
it.
good.
Faith and
Good.
belief.
Huh?
That's faith and belief.
Mhm.
I love it.
And Kevin was proud of me because I told him the whole inside of the story of what happened. But so that was a fascinating conversation. He goes, I don't have any doubts when it comes to you standing up for yourself and not allowing people to walk all over you. So, but it was with a bit of grace. He did extend some grace. I promise.
So cool.
Yeah. So it gave me a different shift on the energy and how money just flows if you allow it to.
It's
And
always
then
there.
hearing you kick our ass tonight was just,
I'm just reading a book. I'm just
Whatever.
reading a book.
I have conversations with you and then you come on the call and it's like, how can I hit her straight in her freaking eyes?
Huh, I don't even remember our call.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
Amber said, interesting how sustained thought is easier when I'm in poverty mindset. So how many of you have ever ridden in the mud and there's ruts in the mud and the car gets in the ruts and you can literally take your hands off the wheel, but trying to get out of that rut, that's why it's not even sustained thought, it's habitual thinking. Sustained thought is you thinking poverty, not acting poverty. Sustained thought is you thinking riches. There's a difference between habitual and sustained. I put the truck in the ruts. It will sustain staying in the ruts. It ain't thinking. It ain't doing anything. It's easy. Any of you ever drive a tractor, a non-power steer tractor, or a right, and the thing spins and it hits your thumb? That's not fun. We had a tricycle tractor that do that. So understanding sustained thought means you have to think poverty. Most people don't even have to think poverty. They just are it. Right? When you decide to think riches, your head hurts. Because you have to stop thinking poverty. You are thinking poverty. You are just being it. And when being is at the cellular level, thinking is up here in the energetic craziness. If anybody ever sees The Secret, right? I'm talking about crazy, right? However that scientist says that. But my point is that when you sustain your thought of thinking, it's hard to do it for more than a minute. Try to think rich for a minute. Just go think rich for a minute. You can't have that. Oh, crap. I didn't even make it 10 seconds, right? So this is Joe Dispenza building his spine. Took six weeks to build his spine, or however it took. And he'd get an hour, 2 hours, and it'd break, and his mind would be exhausted. He'd build this vertebrae and that, and this nerve. He'd get 7 vertebrae. He couldn't do it. And eventually he did it, and he rebuilt his whole spine. Let me ask you this. How much time did you think rich today? I mean, think rich today. Yeah, okay. Goose egg, probably not a good thing. And we wonder, 80,000 thoughts, 60,000 thoughts, 70% repetitive, 80% of them not in our favor, 50,000 thoughts today. It's a math problem. You had 50,000 a day versus nothing. Which side of that battle you want to be on? And so we can get mad at ourselves real quick. We can get depressed real quick. We can get frustrated real quick. But you can have a rich thought right now. Have a rich thought right now. All of us think about Daniela's getting onto the Zoom, and the background is actually the background in the room she grew up in at her parents' house. How cool would it be for us to watch her face, see her face, that she's in Bosnia right now. She just got off and she's getting in the car and she's talking to us from the WhatsApp group, and she's dialed in and she's getting the Zoom. And I'm sorry, the connection, and we're here in Balagala, and we're here and we're just going through the mountains, and the connection might be good, but we're here. How many of us would be excited? Right? Heather invites us all to her pool party. She just put in the pool and she got it all going, and it's got the hot tub, and it's a saltwater pool. She didn't want any chlorine because she's one of those kinds of people. And she just, right? And so we just all have, right? How excited would we be? This is what we have. We have to think this way. Amber was just awarded some Nobel Peace Prize for some energy frequency that she created that is now energetically used by DARPA to help heal the world. I mean, come on, we've got to think bigger. Right? Daniela was going to Bosnia because she's dropping off the kids because she's got a 26 country tour on her gratitude tour. Right? I mean, let's think bigger. We have to throw it out there. You want to have riches? You know what? Go ahead, Daniela. I wasn't sure if that was a salute.
No, can we do a workshop?
Sure.
We've been talking about this forever, but where we swap our dreams.
Yep.
And we manifest each other's dreams.
Yep. When you want to host it.
I'm hosting it.
I'll co-host it with you.
Why can't you host and I'll co-host?
I'll host it. You co-host it. Co-host does all the work then.
Okay, fine. I'll co.
Yeah, I was going to co-host and do all the work, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it just keeps popping up lately.
Okay.
And it's easier. It's easier.
So one of the things I want you to think about, and I'll take input since you all are kind of in the inner circle here. What we're talking about is you give me mine, I'll give you yours. I'll give you mine, you give me yours. And I read your dream, your 1,000-word story, and I get excited for it because I can get more excited for it than you can because I have no doubts about it. I want you to think of ways, how can we make this so that it can go viral? That's the part I want everything that we do together now, everything that we do, everything I do, I want it so that it can scale. Does that make sense? I want it yes, we can do it. The 6 of us, the 9 of us, the 20 of us, we could do it. That's not a problem. I want to figure out a way that when we do this, that when people see this, they can go, we can do that. And there's revenue that gets put into the system that it goes viral. I don't need a viral video. Nobody gets, I mean, I don't know, maybe some people in YouTube get paid viral for it, but I'm not about going viral for views. I'm going viral for income. So just a thought, but yes, we can definitely do that. Oh, and by the way, page 5 goes on to, as a result of what you've learned from this chapter, state what you intend to do in the future to make certain you begin doing things in a certain way. So that's the other 7 responses there. This is chapter 2. Prove that getting rich is not a matter of environment. This is a good book. It's a secret of secret books. It really is. Questions, thoughts, comments? History has a way of repeating itself. We're back to 2-hour calls and 90-minute calls in the morning. I keep looking up every morning, looking up, going, oh, every time I tell Daniela, well, I'm cutting it to an hour, it always doesn't normally go that long, but that's okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What'd you learn? What'd you like? What'd you take away from chapter 1?
Something that jumped out of me, and I mean, I think it was based on chapter 1, but it was something you said, Sean, about 2 comma thoughts, 2 comma ideas. And then I also wrote down that requires 2 comma actions.
But remember, with gravity, 2 comma actions don't have to be a lot. They just have to be impactful.
I get that. I
Yep.
absolutely get
Okay.
that. But I know the 2 comma thoughts and ideas are there. It's been the action. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Daniela, did you raise your hand? Okay. I saw you go like this, but maybe it was as your hand moved to this. Anyone else? What'd you learn? What'd you like? Take away? What's your thoughts?
I'm grateful that you took the time to do this tonight. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I want to do this because, yes, I can come here because here's what would have happened. How can I help you in your business?
Doing this.
So I want to be of useful. I want to help. If there's nothing going on in the business, then I have to reset the mind so that business can easily come. And that's what this book does. And this book, I think, does it faster than Napoleon Hill's book. Napoleon Hill's has got there's a whole bunch of parts and pieces that make this Think and Grow Rich up. This is the science. So if we get the science, then when we go to think, the Think and Grow Rich happens even faster because we understand the science. Most people can't get Think and Grow Rich down because they never read this book. How many you talk to people go, Napoleon Hill, oh my God, I love that book. I have that book. When's the last time you read it? I don't know, a decade ago. Do you know the science of getting rich? The what? That's why they can't get the think, because they don't understand the science.
Lots of people don't know about this book.
So,
My
Louise,
favorite-
what'd you get?
My favorite was
Louise is so happy right now. She's like, it's 8 o'clock for me. It's 7 o'clock for me. You guys are I'm just waking up. It's great. Screw you guys. You better stay on because I get up at 4. You guys can stay up till 11.
No, I
And
get
Ruth the
on
same
at
way.
4.
No wonder Ruth is so full. I forget you both are on the same time.
But we're in the same, yes.
Yes, I know. I forget.
I really liked Return on Imagination.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. That was God going, hey, listen, say this. I'm like, I heard imagination. I'm like, that's not an I. Remember who the spelling bee champion is.
Well, I never drove a tractor, so there. I mean, we're even. And it just sort of like you're talking about think bigger. I mean, why not? Why not have 2 commas? Why not? Return on imagination. And yeah, I just aside, I had a great conversation with a gentleman who has a young man who has an amazing nonprofit. And I was telling him about my idea and I was talking to him because I wanted to know the procedure. And he looked at me, and he's a young man. He looked at me and he said, just write out who it's going to benefit, how it's going to benefit. That's where you have to start, because nobody's going to join you unless you know what it is. I'm like, have I heard that before? Oh my gosh.
Dr. Echo to the lobby, Dr. Echo to the lobby.
It was really wonderful. And then he invited me, we had a long conversation, and he invited me to lead one of his workshop. He works with young men, young 8th graders. He's a coach. He used to be an NBA player, but he is now a coach of these young men. And he said, it's all well and fine to coach them to win in competition, but if they don't know how to live a balanced and full, productive life that makes a difference, what's the point? And that's his nonprofit. And he asked me to invited me to work with him in workshops starting in April with these boys, for starting with mindset. He wanted me to start with awareness.
Love it.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. I thought so
So
too.
cool.
Anyway, I just want a return on imagination is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be our call in the morning. Gratitude for your imagination. So if you want to cheat and do them early,
I'm going to just start writing now before I go to bed. And I'll have my little genius recording on, because now
there you go.
I can do that too.
I got mine. There's some new things in there. I looked through that. I went, I need to talk to Heather. I need to find out what all this stuff is. What? So, anyone else?
I like the ROI also. And I like what you were telling Amber about habitual thinking versus sustained, because that is so common.
Yeah, it's not that we think about being in poverty. We're just poverty. We don't have to think about it. So yeah, no, great point. I'm glad, and you gotta give it up for Amber for having the courage to ask that question. Right? That's the true where that vulnerability gives us strength.
Yeah.
Love it.
So thank you. Thank you for doing this book.
You bet. No, I listen. I keep getting better with it as well. Go ahead, Roz. I saw you on mute.
Yes. The one thing that stuck out to me is when you said that it is a sin. It is a sin not to be rich. That is like huge.
Yeah. That one kind of hits. And I've read that before and read it before, but tonight it just hit different. So didn't hurt that I had the puppeteer in the back when Daniela just goes. Who else? Anyone else? Any thoughts, comments? I didn't know Amber was still here. She was hiding behind my camera arm that sticks out.
For me, love is expression due to lack of money.
Okay, say it again, because
That was very.
the universe cut you out. What?
Love is denied expression. Stuff.
See,
Money.
it still cut her out. Isn't that funny? Yeah. No, that's a powerful
Hear
statement.
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool beans. Okay. Anyone else? Any last thoughts, comments, questions? Thank you for putting in the effort tonight. I know we went 2 hours, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. But again, you always are in control. Nobody's hypnotized to be here. It is time for you to now go. Whoop, woof. All right. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for letting me get better. Thank you for helping me get better. And thank you for helping each other to get better. You know what it's like, but I can tell you, you probably don't know what it's like to be on this side of the camera, listening to you all and watching you all grow and together and serve and help each other. It's a joy that I can't even express. I'm not going to go any farther because I'll just start crying like a baby. So I love you all. I appreciate you. Have a great evening.
Love you.
I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling, science of getting rich misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
The next event.
All right, everybody.
Few
See you in a bit.
hours.
Love you guys.
In a few hours. All right, everybody. Love you tons.
Have a good night.
Bye for now.